There is a list in your company right now. Nobody will show it to you. It's never written down. But your manager knows exactly where you sit on it. It's not a performance list. It's not a talent list. And the criteria that put someone on it? That's what we need to talk about. This is just one piece of what's really happening at work. Like it so more people wake up. Share it with a colleague who needs this reality check. Subscribe Workplace Decoded to start playing smarter, not just harder. The actual hidden logic of who gets power inside an American corporation, and why the most hardworking people in the building are almost always the last ones to figure it out. From the moment you entered the workforce, you were handed a deal, and the deal seems straightforward. Show up consistently, do your work well, avoid unnecessary conflict, build your skills over time, and eventually the organization will recognize your contribution and reward it. You became the person your team depends on when a deadline is collapsing, the person who gets pulled into problems because everyone knows you will actually solve them, the person who never drops the ball even when everyone around them is dropping theirs. And at some point, without anyone announcing it, you became the most operationally reliable person on your entire team. Here is the problem with that. Operational reliability is extraordinarily valuable to the people who benefit from it, and completely invisible to the people who make promotion decisions. And nothing inside the official reward structure is designed to move you out of the slot you have made yourself so indispensable in, because moving you creates a problem for everyone above you. And creating problems is not how organizations think about advancement. Every large American corporation operates two entirely separate systems at the same time, and almost no one below director level is aware that both exist. The first system is the one they showed you during onboarding: performance ratings, competency frameworks, promotion eligibility criteria, structured review cycles, all of it documented, all of it presented as the official path forward. This system is real, and it does influence your career, but it does not determine who actually accumulates power. The second system has no name, no documentation, no HR owner, and no mention in any company handbook ever written. It runs entirely on perceived indispensability, which is a specific, measurable phenomenon where certain individuals make the cost of ignoring them or moving past them higher than the cost of accommodating them. Here is what most people never realize about these two systems. They do not reward the same behaviors. In fact, the behaviors that make you exceptional in System 1, total reliability, maximum responsiveness, consistent delivery, zero friction, are the exact behaviors that signal low leverage in System 2. Because a person who never creates friction, never holds ground, and never makes their absence feel costly, has accidentally told the organization something very specific about themselves. They have said, "I can be managed indefinitely at this level," and the organization, quite efficiently, believes them. So how the actual power accumulates? Real power inside a corporation does not flow downward from titles, the way the org chart implies. It accumulates sideways and upward around friction points, the specific places in an organization where decisions stall, information bottlenecks, and things simply cannot move without a particular person being involved. The senior engineer, who is the only one who truly understands the architecture underneath the product, holds structural power that no manager can revoke without creating a crisis. The analyst, who everyone copies on cross-functional emails because they always seem to know what is actually happening, holds informational power that exists completely outside any job description. The mid-level project manager, who somehow always knows which conversation to have and with whom to break a logjam, holds relational power that the org chart does not capture at all. None of these people were assigned their power. They accumulated it by positioning themselves at points where other people's work could not move without them. And here is the thing about infrastructure that nobody says directly. Organizations do not restructure away their own nervous system. Infrastructure gets protected, upgraded, and invested in, not managed out. Here's what most content about workplace power completely misses. They tell you to network more. Speak up in meetings. Find a mentor. That is surface level. That is advice that sounds helpful and does almost nothing. Real power in the American corporate structure accumulates through 5 very specific currencies. Most people spend their careers collecting none of them. Currency 1. Institutional memory. You know what happened last time. You know why the policy exists. You know what that client actually needs versus what they say they need. When you carry institutional memory and you make it visible, people come to you before they go to anyone else. That is informal power. Currency 2. Cross-functional visibility. Most employees are invisible outside their own team. They show up in one Slack channel. Their name means nothing in the meeting 2 floors up. The people who build power early are the ones who deliberately make themselves known and useful to adjacent teams. Not through politics, Through problems. Find a problem no one owns. Solve it across teams. Now you exist in multiple power maps simultaneously. Currency 3. Information asymmetry. You know something others don't. Not because you hoard it, but because you've positioned yourself to receive it. You're the person in the room when decisions get made. You're on the distribution list no one realizes you're on. Information asymmetry is one of the quietest forms of power in corporate America, and most people never even think about it deliberately. Currency 4. The ability to move things. In every company, there are people who get things unstuck. When a project is stalled, they know which conversation to have and with whom. When a decision is delayed, they know whose anxiety is blocking it. This is not about title. This is about reading the system. When you become the person who reliably moves things, people bring you into situations before they escalate. That is leverage. Currency 5. Selective scarcity. This one is counterintuitive. The person who says yes to everything has no power. The person who says yes selectively, who has a point of view about what's worth their time, signals that their time and judgment carry weight. Scarcity creates value. When you are infinitely available, infinitely agreeable, infinitely compliant, you are signaling that your contribution is low cost. And low-cost things are not protected. Here's what the next 5 years look like if nothing changes. The consequences. You keep executing, reliably. Quietly, you continue to be someone your manager describes as solid and dependable. You watch 3 more people get promoted around you. Some of them are politically savvy. Some of them are just louder. A few of them are genuinely talented, but not more talented than you. And the gap between where you are and where you could be grows, quietly, invisibly, until one day you do the math on your last decade and realize you were in motion without ever actually moving. The corporate system is not designed to tap you on the shoulder. It's designed to use you until you self-select out. They don't need you to know this. The realization shift. You've been optimizing for the wrong metric. Here's the shift. You've spent your career trying to be a good employee. You were optimizing for approval. But approval and power are not the same thing. In fact, in most organizations, they move in opposite directions. The most approved of person in your office is the one who makes everyone comfortable. They're agreeable. They're helpful. They don't push back. The most powerful person in your office, title or no title, is the one who has made themselves genuinely hard to operate without. That's not selfishness. That's strategy. You were taught that ambition should be hidden, that making yourself visible is arrogant, that waiting your turn is professional. That was not wisdom. That was conditioning. And it was very convenient, for everyone except you. Here's the soft solution. What actually works? So what do you do with this? You stop asking for visibility and start creating it. Not through self-promotion, through problems. Find the thing in your organization that crosses multiple teams and has no clear owner. Own it. Solve it. Make yourself the person other people reference when that problem comes up. You stop being the person who answers every question and start becoming the person who asks the questions that reframe the conversation. You map the informal network, not the org chart. Who do decisions actually move through? Who do people call before they go to their manager? Align yourself with those people. Learn from them. Be useful to them. And you stop performing for your manager's approval. That's a one-node game. Build a reputation that exists independently of any single relationship in your company. Your manager can leave. Get restructured out. Go quiet. Your reputation, if it lives across the network, survives all of that. Here's the thing about power that no one tells you when you're starting out. It was never about the title. The title is a receipt. It's proof of power that already exists. The people who wait for the title to start building power, they never quite get there. Drop a number in the comments. How many years have you been the most reliable person on your team, and still not the most powerful one? I'll start. The average is 3. Most people type something much higher. Because by the time the title comes, the people who are going to give it to you have already decided what you are. You've been in a system that rewards compliance and calls it merit. That measures your output and calls it your value. That keeps you focused on the next performance cycle so you never look up long enough to see the actual game. The game is about who people need, who they think about when a problem gets hard. Not who worked the hardest, not who had the best numbers, not who deserved it most. Who they could not afford to lose. That is real power. And the quietly devastating truth? You could have been building it this whole time.